What's up? It's your boy Omar 1990 coming at you with a Happy Gilmore 2 spoiler-free review. It just came out today. It's on Netflix. I checked it out. I checked out the first one as well. I hadn't seen it in a while. I say it's mandatory, especially if you've never seen the first one. You cannot jump into Happy Gilmore 2 blindly. And even for people who saw the first one, as much as you may like it, if you ain't seen it in a while, I recommend brushing up on it. I haven't seen it in years. I'm so happy, no pun intended, that I saw Happy Gilmore 1 again before I saw the sequel. There was a ton of callbacks. There's a ton of references. They even play clips from the first movie and the second one. They don't do it too often, because if they did, for all the references and all the callbacks they made and all the returning characters and cameos that they had in this movie, if they were to play a clip for every reference, they basically would have had half of the first movie inside the second one. But it's so like heavily reliant upon references and callbacks, Easter eggs. So yeah, you cannot watch this one without watching the first one. And like I said, even for fans of the first one, if you ain't seen it in years, I recommend you rewatch it and then jump to the sequel, because I felt like there was a lot of stuff that, and I watched it hours before the second one dropped. So I was like, I pretty much almost watched them back to back, and I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I probably would have not caught or forgotten about had I not seen the first one. So I recommend doing that. And the fanfare around Adam Sandler's movies is kind of weird, because like a lot of us like grew up off of this like in the 90s, or or like before that, like if you grew up around that time, because he was from Saturday Night Live, Adam Sandler. So it's kind of like, it's weird, because like when you get older, some of the movies don't really hit the same. You just like, oh man, this ain't good. Like maybe you got to be a kid, or maybe you just got to be young or something. I don't know. Like I'm grown trying to rewatch it, it don't really work. And then some of them that are still good to this day. Happy Gilmore is one of those ones I can still come back to. I still like it. Big Daddy's actually, I'd say, from comedy, I would say that's my favorite comedic Adam Sandler movie. The weird thing is, back when it came out, I wouldn't have said that. I liked it, but there was other movies at the time that I liked better. And the crazy thing is, half of those movies, I watch them now, I don't really like them anymore, or they're just not as good. But I feel like Happy Gilmore was one of those ones that was still solid. And watching this sequel, this is actually, it's actually a pretty good sequel. I don't think it's better than the first movie. And I mean, a lot of sequels can't really say that. That's not really something different. But I don't think it's bad. I thought it was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good attempt. It was a pretty solid film. There were some things here and there that I didn't like. I'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, though, normally when I see it, especially with comedies, when you see these long-awaited sequels, they typically don't work. And because it's like, okay, you're taking something that was a gem in one era, and then you're making it for the new modern era like 15, 20 years later. And it's kind of like, it don't really hit the same. This should have been stuck in that time period, because it was good for that. And it didn't really evolve right the way y'all was trying to do it. Like, usually it don't work. There's some good examples, like for me, as far as comedies that are like having long-awaited sequels. I feel like Bad Santa 2 was a really good one, because that was one that, if you and the Bad Santa's not, it's more of a cult kind of comedy classic. It's not for everybody, because it's so raunchy, it's so dark, and they really go there. Like it's comedy. It's supposed to be very offensive, so it's not for a lot of people. And Bad Santa 2 was made pretty much on the verge of when they was doing cancel culture and all this and that. So people were scared to be funny. They were scared to really go there. Bad Santa 2 took the risk, because I was skeptical, because I'm like, I don't know, like, can you make a movie that funny again like you did back then? Because I'm like, the landscape right now, you can't really do that without getting in trouble or people offended and coming with trigger warnings and all this and that. But it was still really good. It was like one of the last best rated R funny films that I've seen in a while. And I couldn't decide which one I like best between the first or the second one. I was like, man, they're both just as good. They took the same formula. It didn't really matter what time period they were in. They made Bad Santa again, with a new story, with a new plot. So it worked. And then there are some movies that just don't work, like Zoolander 2. I ain't even gonna speak on that. I love the first one so much. It's still one of my favorite, just dumb comedies. It's just so funny. And then the second one, you feel like you feel like another Zoolander would work. For me, it just didn't. But I think Happy Gilmore 2 is one of those ones that's like, it's good. You know, it's not better than the first, but it's good. I didn't think it was bad. There was a few things I didn't like with it. I do appreciate and like how the love interest from the first Happy Gilmore is in the second one. But even there's like, in just the first 2 minutes, there's something that they do with the wife that I just didn't like. I didn't like it at the time. The way the movie progressed and the way the story transpired, it actually made sense. It's like, oh, okay, I get why y'all made the decision to do what y'all did. I'm not gonna spoil it. You'll see if you watch the movie. But I'm like, okay, I get what y'all was doing. I do wish they handled her character in a better way, but I get what they were going for. When you see the movie actually play out, it's like, oh, okay, I get what you're trying to do. And it's more of a dramedy this time around. Adam Sandler's pretty good for that. Like, there's a lot of movies where it's funny, but there's like some kind of heartfelt moments. This actually does that. It has a little more heart in its story, more like emotional kind of tugs than the first one. They don't stick to that. It's not too mushy. It's still more of a comedy. It's still more err on the side of funny and just being ridiculous. So, but you do get like a little bit of like, oh man, that was kind of sad. You know, because he's getting older too, so it's kind of like that whole theme of like older, going through stuff, having problems, dealing with certain things. So they have that in here. They're not heavy on that, but it's an aspect of the movie that does exist, and it does add kind of heart and a little more character to the movie, and it helps you just like the characters a little more too. And speaking of characters, there are so many people returning. There's so many kind of like relations. If you've seen the first one, to like other characters that have existed before. Shooter McGavin is back. The funny thing is, I didn't really realize how passionate Shooter McGavin was about like traditional golf. It plays out so much in this second film. It actually kind of sets the tone for where they're going with the plot. And the plot's simple. It's just what transpires from it. It just brings a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cameos in here. There's some golf jokes in here, like if you're a fan of golf, and there's some hockey stuff too. There was like a brilliant Arnold Palmer joke that I really liked. So there's something in here for everybody, I feel like. And the cameos are crazy wild. I'm pretty sure there's some cameos I just didn't even notice. I just thought they was actors, but they probably was like some people somewhere related. So there's a ton of cameos in here. I probably gotta do some research maybe. I'm pretty sure I probably missed about 20% of them, but there's a ton of cameos, a ton of callbacks, like I said, a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of direct references. Like I said, it's a true sequel. You cannot go into this one blindly, even for people who liked it. If you ain't seen it in like 5-some years, I recommend watching it again and then going to the sequel, because I guarantee there's gonna be some stuff you're gonna be like, it might be like in your head, but it's kind of like you can't really place it. There's just so much references in here. And my other thing that I didn't really like, because you know it's a golf movie, so it's big on golfing. So the plot, basically, underlying plot is there's this young guy who he was a fan of Happy Gilmore, basically. He wanted to start this new golfing league, and it's just so unorthodox, and it's supposed to put traditional golf out of business. You know, it's a younger, more fast-paced approach. There's shot clocks for swings. You can't take your time and swing. You got like a limit, and it's just very fast-paced. So basically, he just took Happy Gilmore's his hockey unorthodox approach to the game that would draw a lot of viewers in the first one. If you've seen the first one, he basically just made a whole league out of just making golf a more fun, interesting game, and he took away all of the boring aspects. Basically, that's like the thing of it. He wanted to recruit Happy. Happy went down with it. He tried to go for his nemesis, Shooter McGavin. And Shooter McGavin, because he's a traditional golfer, he old school. He likes 18 hole. He liked the way the game is played. So when dude was like mentioning to him, like, we cutting this out, we doing this, we doing that, and he like, this is disrespectful, this is cheating, this is a disgrace to the game, this ain't the sport I know, like, I ain't down with that. It's such in a comical way too, like, I'm just kind of watering it down. But basically, that's what has Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin joining forces, you know, unrelentingly. So it actually made for a pretty good, cool story. And the way it was set up was the traditional golfers, they're basically like, okay, well, our livelihood is threatened because this new league is looking to take over. It's looking to take the game by storm. They're taking golf in a whole nother direction. We're losing sponsorships that used to always come to us. We're losing it to this new league. So we're not sponsored. There's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of attention. There's not a lot of viewership here. So basically there's this tournament where he's saying, the young guy's saying like, my top golfers can beat the top 5 traditional golfers. And they're like, okay, well, let's put that to the test. The way it breaks down is to even qualify to play against the 5. It's like an all-star 5 versus 5 golfers for the 2 leagues, traditional golfers versus this new up-and-coming young league that play fast pace. They have all these crazy rules. So basically, Happy Gilmore is on the traditional side trying to qualify for the top 5 spot. So it's normal. It actually feels like the first Happy Gilmore. He's just older. He hasn't played in a while, and you understand why he hasn't played for years. It's mentioned in the beginning. And so, and you get to see why he's playing again. He's playing for money like he was in the first one, but it's for a totally different reason, trying to provide for his family, right? So basically it goes down like it's supposed to. It feels like the first Happy Gilmore kind of, because it's traditional golf and he's trying to make that top 5 spot. Then when they get into the 5-on-5 for the new league, that's supposed to be more innovative and all this and that, I expected it to be goofy. It was just a little too wacky. It was a little too goofy. The format and the way that the golfing thing, I wasn't really feeling it. Now, maybe some people like it. My brother saw the movie too. He said he really liked it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I gotta watch it again, but I just wasn't. It was just like playing an arcade golf game. It was just a little too out there for me. It felt like I was watching Space Jam 2, where it wasn't just basketball. They did all this crazy, goofy stuff. Maybe it's a cool idea to some, but for me, I was just kind of like, I just want to see just basketball. Like, I understand the guy was trying to cut down rules, but it was just like he was shifting stuff. He had them putting on ice. I was just like, it was like an ice rink, but you have to put it in. I was like, okay, this is a little too out there. But there was a lot of good comedic bits in between the playing of the golf that worked. So it was like, you know, but just I think the whole format it didn't really land on the green for me. That's pun intended. But it just, yeah, I don't know. And some about it was just a little off. It kind of bothered me. But overall, the movie was pretty good. Like I said, it's a good sequel. I think it's decent. I didn't think it was bad. There's a couple things that bothered me. I forgive the first thing with the wife. Seeing how the story played out, the golfing format just wasn't for me. A little too wacky, a little too goofy. I get that's what they was probably going for though. Maybe I got to see it again to appreciate it. But on the first watch, I was just kind of like, it was like just a lot of buffoonery. Happy Gilmore 1 had buffoonery too, but that was more so in the characters. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I gotta watch it again. If you see the movie or if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But it just felt like one of them. It felt like one of them midway video games. If you play like Blitz 2000 or something, how it's just like wacky, goofy, untraditional. I get that's what they was trying to go for with the league. I just didn't think they was just, because you hear it mentioned with the young guy, but you don't see it play out till toward the end. And I was like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna be this out there, this goofy, this wacky. I thought he really was just like, we're racing and you have a shot clock and you gotta hurry up, you gotta hurry up. I didn't know he was gonna have like controllers and he was gonna have graphics and just all this like weird, crazy stuff. But like I said, it might work for some people. Maybe I gotta watch it again. Maybe I'll be like, oh, okay. Because it just caught me off guard, how wacky and goofy it was. So for me, on first watch, it didn't work. But overall, I did like the movie. I think it's a decent one. You know, if I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, Happy Gilmore is a solid 8 for me. The first Happy Gilmore, I would say this one falls in at a 7. No lower than that, no higher than that. But yeah, I thought it was good. You know, 7 out of 10 to me is good. You know, it's good. It's a fun time. If you know what you're getting into because you saw the first Happy Gilmore, it's pretty much the same. It's a nice, fun, nostalgic ride. But yeah, I think you'll like it. Yeah, let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you're feeling it. It's your boy Super Mario 1990. I'm out. Peace in.